live in 2 minutes. Lynn Cullen live in 1 minute. Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com.
Why, hello there and welcome. And I have the sorrowful duty to tell you that Mr. Potter has stood us up. Not really. He did inform me yesterday afternoon that he was unable to join us. He does have this job, putting out a weekly newspaper, and I guess sometimes that interferes. So at any rate, all we got today is us, and that did very well yesterday. I thought we had a very provocative and engaging communication, and no reason why that can't continue today. Certainly the NSA surveillance stuff has been taking up a lot of our time. I am, because I have talked about it perhaps ad nauseum, going to just throw two things out to you today, initially, and see if anything gets going. If not, we've got some other really interesting things to get into as well. There, believe it or not, has been other news occurring. So, again, in my efforts to try to ascertain my own feelings about all this stuff that we are learning about what our government has done, I've attempted to refine my feelings and or challenge my feelings and I hope to think that I will continue to do so. Anyway, in doing all that yesterday, I read a number of things, and two I thought I found resonated with me, and they're on opposite ends of the argument. And it shows to me that this is a difficult issue. It really is, and it is not a black and white issue. For some people, it is, and those are absolutist types. And I am rarely in that camp. Rarely, I'm a shades of gray person. Ugh, is that book?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't mean that book. We'll never even touch that book. No. But I believe in, yes, I'm not an absolutist. Jesus, damn, they take something like shades of gray, which is a good phrase that is helpful in communication, and then they sully it. Shit. Anyway, so I'm going to just send a few excerpts your way from both of these. Both of these are gentlemen whose musings I read on the internet and who I find to be smart, intelligent, thoughtful people. And in the case of one, often very funny. But they are, I would say, on opposite ends of this debate, although neither is an absolutist, because I don't listen to absolutists. I have a problem with them. So let me go first to Josh Marshall, who is the editor of Talking Points Memo. And he has written quite a bit on the NSA surveillance story. And in so doing, I guess he has upset a lot of people who normally love his work, but find themselves on the other side of this one. And he starts by noting that. He says, there are some public events that divide people, but divide people who normally agree with each other. And this is one of those events. I was talking yesterday about the strange bedfellows it makes. While it divides people who normally agree with each other, it also puts people who normally would never agree with each other in bed together. The pairing I like the most is Glenn Beck and Glenn Greenwald, one of the journalists who leaked the story. I doubt if those two Glens would have anything in common, but in fact, they are on the same side on this one. So Josh Marshall points that out. And he said, we tried to figure out, well, now, what is it about this case that makes it one of those things that creates these strange alliances and these abnormal divisions? And he decided that it comes down to a basic feeling of how the individual feels about his or her relationship to the state, the country, in this case, the institution. And I think he might be onto something with that. I, in railing about all of this yesterday, found myself talking about that, saying you can't have a country. If you have a country, or something that calls itself a country, an entity in which none of the people trust the government, that's not a country then. That's not that's... Well, I suppose that would hold true for a totally totalitarian place where, the people don't trust it, but they got no choice. They got to live under it or revolt against it. But I said I have never and could never, I hope, get to the point where I totally distrust my government, where I don't feel somewhere at heart that my government is one that I, in fact, can pledge allegiance to. That at base I am proud to be an American. Now, you know that here a lot of us part company. I know there are a lot of people who share a lot of my political points of view who couldn't make the statement I just made. Their reaction invariably to this country is that it's bad. It is not to be trusted. Nobody in it is to be trusted. And if you feel that way, then anything that upends it, anything that, as I think Marshall puts it, sticks a stick in the spokes of the wheel, is something good. If you see the state as essentially malevolent, as essentially bad, then you are going to think that most of what it does is bad, its foreign policy is bad, and the more you can sort of pull the curtain open and expose it, the better it is. This is total transparency. Now, I obviously think that there should be as much transparency as possible, but because I have not personally gotten to the point, and I'm grateful I haven't, that I do not in any way, shape, or form trust my government or believe that it's capable of being a good influence in the world in some respects. I also see it, I think, pretty clearly, see the negatives. I'm quite sure I do. But maybe, and what Marshall thinks is that the point where we're diverging in some cases is on that point of people who still are capable of identifying with the country, and I would put myself in that camp. I'm very critical of it, often. I think I see it pretty clearly, and it ain't a pretty picture, a lot. But I look around, and I feel very lucky to have been born here, to be here, and I call myself, without equivocation, an American. There are people on the left who can't do that comfortably. And so you and I part company on an issue like this. So anyway, back to Marshall. So he goes on and he says, you can support your government but see its various shortcomings and even evil things that it does. And as I said at the outset, this is where leaks play a critical role as a safety valve. But it comes down to this essential thing. Is the aim or the effect of the leak to correct an abuse or simply to blow the whole thing up? Now, he goes on to say that he thinks there's no doubt that in Bradley Manning's case, that it was just about blowing the whole thing up. He then says the Snowden case seems less clear, and that, in fact, Snowden took some care about what he released. I pointed that out yesterday as well. But then he goes on to say, but Snowden is not just opening the things up for debate. He's taking it upon himself to make certain things no longer possible or much harder to do. And Marshall says, to me, that's a betrayal. And it gets to the point I'm making. Who gets to decide in this country? The totality of the office holders who have been elected democratically, for better or worse, to make these kinds of decisions, or Edward Snowden, a 29-year-old guy who I've never heard of before, who espouses a political philosophy I do not agree with, and is now seeking refuge abroad. I'm very skeptical that what he did is awesome, just because leaking state secrets is always a heroic act. Okay, so that's the one side. And I feel generally pretty comfortable on that side. But here's the other. and it's hard not to agree with this as well. This is by Charles Pierce, who writes for Esquire, and I find him brilliant and acerbic and often very funny. And in part, this is what he wrote. I am an American citizen. I am the citizen of a self-governing political entity. I have a say, an important and equal say, in the operation of my government. Let us persist in the notion that in the United States, the people rule. If we persist in that notion, then there's only one question that I humbly ask of my government this week. Please, if it's not too much damn trouble, can you please tell me what's being done in my name? I'm a big boy. I'm not made out of spun sugar. I know my country has enemies. I know that it is the obligation of my government to protect me from them. And it's right there in the preamble. We the people. But just tell me what's being done in my name. I'm a big boy. If you think you need to protect me by dropping drones on people half a world away or by vacuuming up my personal data, then tell me precisely who is being killed in my name and why precisely I need you to do what you are doing. I'm okay. I can take it. I'm goddamn sick and fucking tired of self-government being run on automatic pilot, of gangs of 5, of 8, of 22, meeting in secret, deciding things that a decade later get murderous religious whack jobs flying airplanes into our buildings. Because what gets decided in secret gets played out in public. Always. Remember the famous Doonesbury cartoon in which 2 Cambodian peasants are asked about the secret bombing of their country? It wasn't secret, said one of the Cambodian peasants. Look, here comes the bombers. So, Pierce writes, you people jack around with some other people on the other side of the world, and pretty soon, I'm picking pieces of Starbucks out of my hair, if I'm lucky. Just tell me what is being done in my name. Tell me what is being done in my name, and I can decide on the level of my own complicity. Tell me what is being done in my name, and I can decide that I don't want to be complicit. Tell me what is being done in my name, and I can be a citizen in full of a self-governing political commonwealth. That's your job. That's what those 3 words and that are about. We the people. Don't tell me it's for my own good. I'm not 12. I know what's for my own good. Don't tell me to trust you. That ship sailed a long time ago. God damn it, just tell me. Tell me what is being done in my name, and I'll decide if it should continue or not. Tell me what is being done in my name, and I'll tell you if you should keep doing it or not. I will govern and not be governed. Tell me. Just tell me. Before someone else does, with a leak or a bomb or an airplane into a building. Tell me what is being done in my name so I can be ready when the time comes. Charles Pierce, Esquire. I agree with him, too. So, the thing is, you know, we the people... Okay, wait. I'm not surprised somebody wants to talk about that. Hello? Hello?
Good morning.
Hi.
Hey, you were talking about being proud American and all that. My problem is the rich control the whole country. They run the country. Mm-hmm. That's where I have the problem.
Yeah.
They call the shots. It's not the people voting. It's the damn rich people who run this country for decades and decades. And that's what really pisses me off about the whole thing. That's why I can't say I'm proud of America, because the rich runs the whole show. They call the shots. And until that changes, I would rather have been born in Canada. I actually think I'd be better off as a socialist. That's how I think about it. But I go along where I'm at, and that's the way it is. But that's the problem that really gets to me, as they control everything of everybody's aspect in life. We'll see you.
Okay, bye. Gee, I'm so agreeable today. I don't disagree with you either. The thing is, you say that the rich people control everything and not the people voting. Well, I got news for you. The people don't vote. So we have a citizenry that has disengaged. Now, you can make a really good case that there has been a concerted effort on the part of the powerful to get the citizenry to disengage so that they, in fact, have a free hand in absconding with the government. And they've been rather successful, without a doubt. But I just don't think we, the people, can so easily act victimized on this when we have barely put up a fight. The United States is home to extraordinarily complacent citizenry, in large part. Disinterested, disengaged, as I said. And the founding fathers warned us that they were giving us this republic if we can keep it. And they made clear that the way you keep it is by participating, is by being informed. Now, the rich and the powerful, as I said, often work to make us skeptical and misinformed. So we have a lot of information out there, which is in fact disinformation, and it's disinformation designed to make us malleable and or cynical and or fearful, but it is information designed to manipulate us. Now, a person is capable of refusing to be manipulated in this way, of insisting individually that they themselves will seek out information from various sources and engage in something called critical thinking and arrive at their own conclusions. And such a person might get very active in the political structure, because if we, the people, really wanted to stop moaning and groaning about being victimized, we could take over every ward in this city. We could take over the parties. We could. But for some reason, we don't. I always told people that the brilliance of this country and the powers that be in it was always to keep Americans just comfortable enough that we wouldn't get involved. It's what the right says about, like, welfare. It makes you dependent. It creates generation after generation of people who are just sitting there, unwilling to do for themselves and expecting things to come to them. Well, I would argue that is a pretty good picture of the vast majority of American citizens in relation to their country. And in that regard, you could argue that somebody like a Snowden is a better citizen than most. Even if you don't agree with what he did, at least he felt compulsion to do something, and that he felt that he was every bit a part of the governance of this country, and he didn't want to be complicit anymore. I would argue he went about it in the wrong way, perhaps, but I don't know. I think these things they bring up big issues. I'm about 10 pages shy of finishing a book by Gore Vidal called Hollywood, which is really about America in the 20s. From our entry into World War I through the Harding administration. And it's a historical novel, but Vidal's historical novels are wonderful history books, because he does put the history in. And, reading about America in the 20s and the teens, reading about the Wilson administration and about the Congress of that period and the Harding administration, some of it is just mind-blowing. The political machinations, the things that were done that were so clearly unconstitutional. How Woodrow Wilson took such extraordinary powers during World War I. He imprisoned people for years and years and years for blinking the wrong way, for saying the wrong thing. It was amazing what was going on. I really didn't have a clue about the level of that during World War I. This country is always straying from its better self. But there's usually some kind of correction, some kind of pullback. There is no perfection. But we don't have a shot if people don't engage. That's all I want to say. I think. Ha! Did I just say that's all I want to say? I think I did. That's absolutely a lie, I'm sure. But let's take a break and we'll come back. Thanks.
Stick around for more with Lynn Cullen Live after this.
This week's Pittsburgh City Paper annual health issue is available now. Pick up one today for information on the Three Rivers Arts Festival and Pride Fest. Plus, Kenny G, the Jerry Garcia Symphonic Celebration, Brandy Carlisle, and the Strawberry Festival at Trax Farm. Pittsburgh City Paper available at over 1,700 locations throughout Western Pennsylvania and on the web at pghcitypaper.com and on your smartphone with GPS-enabled listings at citypapermobile.com.
Okay, I love being able to tell you about the Urban Gardener. I want to get as many of you over there as I can. First of all, because if you say my name, you get a discount. I feel so powerful. If you say my name, I get a discount. Do you know I went over there and I didn't say my name? I didn't get a discount. Was that stupid? Should work for me, too. Anyway, the Urban Gardener, right there on the north side, specializing in, no shock here, urban gardening. Urban gardening is often different. There's smaller spaces. There's a lot of container gardening. There is often more shade. Whatever, the ladies there, man, do they know their stuff. They will even, if you want, design your garden. They will even, if you want, maintain your garden. But I would say, what's the point? I mean, to me, gardens are so good for the soul and the psyche. And one of the things that makes them good is tending them. They have garden art. They got trees. They got shrubs. They got annuals, perennials, blah, 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 blah. They have it all. And they got this discount for Lynn Cullen. Listeners. So head on over there, 1901 Brighton Road. Go to their website. It's a great site, and you'll get all the directions and all of that. And the website is urbangardenerpgh.com.
Hey, Billy, want to go to the state fair?
Yeah!
Well, you can't.
Huh?
Well, you see, Billy, when you throw away money on wasted electricity, you throw away everything you could have done with it. But now your parents are becoming energy efficient. They could save hundreds of dollars a year and take you to the fair next year.
I want to go now.
I know you do. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at EnergySavers.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Energy and the Ad Council.
Have a question or an opinion? Call Lynn Cullen at 412-316-3381 or email lynn at pghcitypaper.com. Now, more with Lynn Cullen Live.
Okay, I have, here it is. I have an iPhone. I have this woman Siri on it. I hate her. And I understand I'm not alone. There are a lot of people who can't stand her. I can't stand the woman because she never understands a word I say. Now, I could do a demonstration right now, but of course you know what she'll do. For the first time, she'd understand me, and it just to screw me up. But let's see. I'll try, okay? Because I want to get into this. There's a change afoot. Okay, let's see. What shall I ask? Siri, who is Bradley Manning?
Would you like me to search the web for who is Bradley Manning?
See? You jerk! You jerk! That's the first time she understood what I said. Okay. Would you like me to... Usually I say, who is Bradley Manning? And I get something like, would you like me to order a roast beef on rye? I mean, it's like, what? What? Who? So, anyway, I just... First of all, I hate talking to machines. I hate machines talking to me, which, of course, doesn't bode well for me in this day and age. But... So Apple unveiled its some of its new technology, I think on Monday. And one of the things they're going to start doing, starting this fall, Siri, you've been demoted. Here, I'll tell her. Wait a minute. Siri, do you know you've been demoted?
I'm sorry, Lynn. I'm afraid I can't answer that.
Ha 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 ha! Right. Okay. So, starting in the fall, people will be able to decide whether or not they want Siri or a man. I don't know what his name is. What is his name? A male voice. And I guess that's for people who speak English, French, or German. You will be able to choose. I don't want a man. I don't want a Siri. I don't want any of it. I swear to God, I don't want any of it. But listen to this. I'm reading from something on Huffington Post technology front. Female voices are seen, on average, as less intelligent than male voices. It's safer, in other words, what Apple is doing, it's safer in a sense to have a male voice, in the sense that you're not going to disappoint people as much. What? What? Are they saying that if it were a male voice that said to me, "Do you want you want pastrami on rye?" I think I just changed the order. When I was asking about something totally different, that I'll be better with it if it's a guy screwing it up? I don't understand what they're talking about, but this made my blood run cold. Female voices are seen on average as less intelligent than male voices. And they're able to make statements like that because, obviously, studies have been done. Now, That made me do such a flashback to the 1970s. And I was the first television anchor woman in Madison, Wisconsin. And a new general manager came into the TV station. And he summarily yanked me off. And he said in a staff meeting in front of everybody, showing what a doofus he was, he said, women's voices simply do not have the authority of a man's voice. Oh, he didn't say woman, he said girls. Girls' voices simply do not have the authority of a male voice. Now, Lynn, we could have you read some of the lighter features. And he proceeded to put me in this little, female position. Well, you can imagine. I was dumbfounded. Okay, now that is, how many years ago is that? 40 or more years ago? And here, it hasn't changed a bit. It hasn't changed a bit. In some countries, Apple didn't even bother putting Siri as a female on their phones. They didn't bother in France. They didn't bother in England. Those phones started with a male voice. And that is because this sense of men being the one you would turn to is just ingrained. And one way to keep it ingrained, of course, is to keep doing this kind of thing and not allowing women to have positions in which they are authorities. Here again. Virtual personas with female voices can be seen as less knowledgeable. But female voices are preferred in avatars that serve as a helper or in an assistant role. Exactly what that idiot general manager tried to do to me. You can't be the main dog, said he. You've got to be the little helper, the subservient one, because that is what women should be. Says here in the Huffington Post, in other countries, female voices just don't fly at all. BMW was forced to recall one of its cars, all of the cars, because male drivers in Germany did not trust the female voice giving them directions. Now, everybody knows that women are the only ones that will ask for directions and find out the right way to go. Men will drive around hopelessly lost for ages. When it comes to directions, I don't think there's any doubt you ask a woman. In Japan, a call center operated by Fidelity would rely on an automated female voice to give stock quotes, but would then transfer customers to an automated male voice to make a transaction. Oh dear. Just, and then you wonder why women still make 77 cents on a dollar that men make, while there's a whole bunch of Americans think women shouldn't do this, women shouldn't do that, women shouldn't even be out, I shouldn't be doing what I'm doing, I should be back home in the kitchen, I should be tending to the children, I shouldn't have as many opportunities as men. It's beyond belief. We think things have changed, and in fact, they have. And by the way, I did get that anchor job back very quickly. Very quickly. I was married at the time to a young lawyer. And we filed suit the next day. And 1 week later, I'm back in the anchor chair. And it wasn't because the suit went forward. It was because the station's attorney said to this dimwit general manager, hey, we don't have a leg to stand on here. Put her back. But what a. Unbelievable. Okay. Excuse me just a sec. Trying to think. Did you see this thing on the Pope, by the way? This is a fascinating story. In large part because it wasn't supposed to see the light of day, and also because of what the Pope allegedly said. This is the result of a pope, the new pope, Pope Francis, having a meeting with a group from Latin America called the Latin American and Caribbean Confederation of Religious, and it's a umbrella organization for priests and nuns in Latin America. And they met with the Pope. And after they'd met with the Pope, they sat around. It's not like anybody had recorders or anything in there. They sat around and decided to write up a little report, or a synthesis, as they said, of what the Pope had told them. And somehow that report, that synthesis that they wrote up, got published. And it's caused quite a stir because the Pope is quoted as saying to them that there were many holy people in the Vatican, but there was also corruption. And what he was referring to in regard to corruption was what he called the gay lobby in the Vatican. And the Pope told them, yes, indeedy, there is a gay lobby in the Vatican, and we need to see what we can do about it. The Vatican has refused to comment, saying anything the Pope said was said in a private audience with these people, and thus would not be talked about further. The Associated Press piece that I'm looking at goes on to say something I think rather interesting. In the days before Pope Benedict resigned, thus creating the ascension of Pope Francis, the Italian media were full of reports of a gay lobby influencing decision-making by the Pope and influencing Vatican policy through blackmail. And the Italian media said the feeling was all of this kind of thing going on had led in part to Benedict deciding, I'm out of here. Benedict's, historic resignation. The unsourced reports that were published in La Repubblica, which is the big daily newspaper in Rome, and in also a big news magazine there called Panorama, said that details of the scandal about the blackmail and the power of the gay lobby in the Vatican were laid out in a secret dossier that was prepared for Pope Benedict, prepared by 3 trusted cardinals who were investigating the leaks of the Pope's documents, if you recall. And Benedict, after deciding to get out, left the dossier for his successor, Francis. When the secular media in Italy was reporting this stuff, the Vatican denounced it, saying it was unverifiable or completely false. But now these remarks from Pope Francis that were not supposed to be published, as reported by the leadership of this Latin American group, seem to reflect that there is such a tug of war going on in the Vatican. And in the other thing that is so weird about what this published report says that the Pope told these people is, first of all, yes, there's this gay lobby, which he called a corrupting influence. Also, he admits that he's in over his head. Pope Francis says, according to all these other priests and nuns who were there, and I have little reason to believe that they would have misquoted and or misrepresented his remarks, because they agreed enough to put this thing out. He talked about the fact that he was relying almost totally on 8 cardinals, a group of 8 cardinals, to help him run this massive Vatican bureaucracy, which is, I guess, rather daunting and has all of this sort of palace intrigue going on. Now, actually, so as a pope coming in from outside, he would have no idea who's who, what's what, and what's happening. So the document that got out quoted Pope Francis as saying this: I am very disorganized. I have never been good at this. But the cardinals of the commission will move things forward. Now, I find something... I react in a positive way to a pope telling a bunch of priests and nuns, I'm not very good at this. I've never been good at this. I'm disorganized. We've heard about this guy's humility. Well, there is humility on display, but that's not the kind of thing I would suspect that the Vatican wants the Pope being quoted as saying. So, it's hardly shocking to find out that there are a lot of gay priests, bishops, cardinals. It's not shocking. But that it would be considered that group is a cabal of sorts that is engaging in all kinds of chicanery and who knows what to maintain power is fascinating, but who knows? So the story is that Pope Francis has confirmed there is a gay lobby at work in the Vatican that might have, in fact, have had something to do with Benedict's resignation, and also that the Pope feels he's not quite up to the job. Fascinating. Second break.
More is on the way with Lynn Cullen Live.
Go to bergbargains.com for great deals on gift cards from your favorite local restaurants, bars, museums, attractions, and shows. This week, great deals on Jerome Bettis grill vouchers. Supplies are limited. bergbargains.com, Pittsburgh's best bargains. bergbargains.com.
Check out my new time machine.
Does it work?
Hit the button.
Hey, it's Napoleon.
Oui. Check out the future.
Hey, you have a nice house. Why don't I?
You didn't save any money, buddy.
If only there was a way I could go back in time and fix that.
Yeah.
Save something for the future. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
Now, it's back to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com.
All right, we have a dispatch from Ray, who had the misfortune, or not, because it was a great game, misfortune of being at the Pirate game last night. Misfortune in that this was the first night that PNC Park used those security wands on every fan who came into the park. That has never been the case there. You just, if you're a woman, you open your purse, they feel around for I'm not sure what, and then you walk in. And they announced this a few days ago, and I know when I saw that they were going to start wanding, that's where you have to go like this, and everybody who's walking into the park, I thought, what the hell? What stupidity. Hello? They hung up. So, anyway, so Ray went, and you may have read in the paper today or heard that it did not go well. The lines were, every person had to be and then who knows, it beeps, and so then you take things out and blah, blah, blah. So the first pitch gets thrown, and half of the fans are still outside the stadium. And by the end of the first inning, the fans are looking like they're going to, storm the place. So at least Pirate Management had the smarts to just say, stop! And they let everybody in. Anyway, Ray was there, and Ray learned a lesson from it, and he wants to share it with us, and it's, I think, pretty good. So I'll share it with you. Last night at the Pirates game was a perfect example of the insanity that passes for security. Thousands of... Oh, come on! Hello?
Hello, Lynn.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt you on the...
Yeah, I'm always being interrupted.
Shaking your wand.
Yeah.
Even though you might find it impressive that the Pope is being humbling, his minions in Pittsburgh aren't. I just wanted to touch base with you on the incident at Carnegie Mellon.
Yeah.
With the art student.
Yes.
You heard that story?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, well, I'm upset about it because I'm a fine arts alum of CMU.
Okay.
And I find this disturbing. Oh, first I wanted to ask you, you're going to have Rick Volchek on Friday, right?
Yep.
Maybe we can discuss that also there with him, just to get, if he can talk about it.
Oh, absolutely. We were going to have Vic on Monday, and the reason he couldn't come is because he was, in fact, at the hearing involving the students.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, maybe we can get him to talk a little bit about it, too. But from a point of view of an alum, and the point of view of just outrage that the university and that the Catholic Church should do this to a student just irks me beyond belief. That here's a situation where an art student put on a religious outfit from the waist up and performed an art project approved by instructor and sponsor on campus in the fine arts section. And that nudity was involved with other portrayals also, which happens and is a subject of art all the time.
Yes.
Whether it's visual portrayal or whether it's
well, I must say,
drama or whatever.
I don't know if you've ever been in the Vatican, but there are naked.
Yes, right, of course.
There's a lot of lot of naked people in the Vatican.
This is what I got intrigued about is because the Roman Catholic Church waded into this. The Pittsburgh Diocese went to President Cohen and complained to him about this.
Right.
Now, there must have been someone who viewed this in the fine arts portrayal area because it was portrayed on campus in the Fine Arts College. And they must have gone to the administration and gone to the Catholic Church to bring about this. Because this isn't just out on the cut on Forbes Avenue, for God's sake.
No, I know.
So anyway, he goes to Cullen, and Cullen then goes and is coerced by this, as far as I can see, because this is where he should have stood up against the Catholic bishop here and said, this is academic freedom, and this is on a private school campus as part of an art project, so buzz off. But he didn't.
No, he didn't.
He acquiesced to it, and he brought charges against the student,
right,
which then led to everybody lawyering up, and they concluded an agreement that she serve 80 community hours. And I think it's crap. It's a violation of a number of things that shouldn't. People don't go to the Duquesne campus and go into an academic setting and complain about their portrayal of stuff. Why is the Roman Catholic Church going in a fine arts area on a private college campus and interdicting their value system, especially in the arts area? It's outrageous.
Well,
now,
I mean, what you have is you have two outrages, depending on where you're standing. To the bishop, it was what the young artist did was outrageous. And so, I mean, you have two groups very, very outraged, without a doubt. You and the bishop.
Well, I haven't heard anything anybody defending her and attacking the school and the Catholic diocese.
Oh, I think there's been a lot of that.
Oh, good. Well, I'm encouraged.
As a matter of fact, there was a pretty strong op-ed piece or a letter to the editor by the whoever heads the fine arts. The
dean of the college
department.
Yeah,
right. And Jared Cohen today in the Post-Gazette does refer to this in a piece about his retirement.
Well, that's another thing. He's retiring soon.
Right.
He had nothing to lose,
right,
but to say no. I'm not going to bring charges,
right.
And you shouldn't do this. And then he quietly leaves it in the hands of the new president, who's already been chosen.
Yeah.
But he didn't do that. But here's the real intriguing part of this: the charges that he brought against this student was for public indecency.
Well.
Now, that is just so ridiculous. I think the real charge behind it, because remember, this came from the Roman Catholic Church about the dress from the waist up, which was a criticism of the Roman Catholic Pope.
No.
That's what this is all about.
No, I think it's more the waist down.
Why?
Because
it's the combination, really.
No, because she was nude from the waist down and had shaved a cross into her pubic hair.
So?
Well, if you're the bishop, you're going to be.
Wait a minute. Do you ever hear the Catholic Church weighing in to public like streaking or anything like that? They bring criminal charges against the university because of some partial nudity anywhere in the public eye? Hell no.
Obviously, her whole piece was a condemnation of the church, and I believe its dealings with pedophiles is what her point was.
Yeah. And that's exactly what set them off to bring these charges and pressure on CMU.
Yeah.
And that's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well,
why is a university of the class of CMU in a fine art setting putting up with coercion from the church about I'll tell you what the public indecency is: the Roman Catholic Church's pedophilia from the past. Then they should stay the hell out of the academic session, where art students are expressing themselves. Cohen ought to be ashamed of this, of closing out his career with this kind of stuff. Now, think about it. This goes on in Russia, too. Right?
Yeah.
With Pussy
Riot?
Right. Only they went into a church.
Right.
And you could charge that they violated the rights of the church.
Right.
But they were doing a protest against religion. They went to the heart of the religion.
Right.
This was in an academic setting approved by the college.
Yep.
And Cohen bends a knee to this outside influence.
Yeah.
Outrageous.
Okay.
From an alum.
Well, I think you should let him know. Thank you.
I will. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, okay. Where was I? Back to Ray. Last night at the Pirates game was a perfect example of the insanity that passes for security. Thousands of us who showed up to see the first pitch of our future ace, and he had a good first outing, were left outside in line because the management had decided to wand everyone in a not-so-timely response to the Boston bombing. Never mind the crazy premise involved in that statement. We were all expected to accept this treatment because they are keeping us safe from the terrible terrorists and their terror-filled plans. And we are to place our trust in the God of technology that the new technocratic priests have foisted upon the faithful. But lo, the curtain was pulled back, and what we saw were old men with questionable training waving noisy sticks at angry people. They might as well have been holding divining rods and tarot cards. After enough time and patience were wasted, they just gave up and shooed everyone in along with their bombs. Our faith in technology is revealed as just that, faith. When we are assured that a new technology will keep us safe, remember the whole thing can fall apart for lack of a battery or because a man of my age can't quite figure out which button is on. So when our government assures you that the new technology is necessary and benign and will only be used for our benefit, be sure you leave plenty of time for standing in lines that lead to nowhere. Ray, you got away with words there, buddy. Well done. Well done. Well done. Wait. What happened? Speaking of well done, I think we're done, practically. Tomorrow, Sokolowski, unless he stands me up too, I haven't had any company all week except for you guys. Which is fine with me, because actually that's the kind of show I used to do all the time. And, yeah, with a minute left, I'm not going to trouble my pretty little head coming up with something else. So forget it. Have a good day. Did I hear something? I mean, look at this beautiful day. Did I hear something about 70-mile-per-hour winds and...
I hope so.
Jess says she hopes so. Apparently, Jess is in a mood to see everything just blown away.
Pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay, well, stay in one piece. That's all I have to say. And tomorrow, we'll talk some more. Toodaloo.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper, Steel City Media, and its advertisers.